And howdy do, folks. I've got one here I found again while we were gone at the Randall's in Fairview Heights. It's 10%. It's Kentucky old-fashioned barrel ale brewed with cherries and orange peel and aged in oak bourbon and bitters barrel. Better say that 10 times fast. Anyways, the camera got kind of cattywampus on me there. There we go. So I poured it into an old-fashioned glass. Kind of made sense, didn't it? Just some that my wife found at the thrift store that she was at. It has sort of the feel on the aroma of an old-fashioned. Doesn't feel as sweet as most bars tend to make old-fashions, but it does have some of the similarities. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Again, I assume this is intended to taste like an old-fashioned. This is old-fashioned barrel ale, but it is beer. So I don't expect taste just like the cocktail. It's kind of a, you know, a beer version of. Again, on the palate, on the flavor, not as sweet as most make an old-fashioned, which is why I don't typically order when I don't really like a sweet drink. My favorite cocktail is a Manhattan, but I usually don't drink those till fall. The old-fashioned is a nice summer cocktail, though it is. And this is nice. It doesn't really taste like an old-fashioned, let me be honest with you. But it does have some of the elements of it. You can kind of have the feel of an old-fashioned. But, you know, this isn't one of those canned cocktail drinks that, you know, that they manufacture. This is a beer. It has some of the elements of an old-fashioned, but it's not an old-fashioned. Brewed with cherries, orange peel, bourbon, and bitters. Yeah, you do taste those. I can taste some of the cherry. I could taste some orange zest for sure. I certainly get the spiciness of the bitters all the way through it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think if you're expecting it to be exactly like an old-fashioned, you're going to be disappointed. But if you use the word inspired, a beer or a beverage inspired by an old-fashioned, I think you may like it, because actually I find it rather enjoyable. No, it doesn't taste exactly like any old-fashioned I've ever had or made myself, but it does taste good for what it is, which is a malt beverage inspired by a classic cocktail. You know, I think sometimes people walk into things with unrealistic expectations. My take on it is that I'm not finding any flaws, you know. I mean, it may not taste the way somebody think it ought to, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's flawed. I think it's put together well. If you're expecting an exact old-fashioned, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're thinking an old-fashioned inspired malt beverage, then I think you might like it, because I kind of enjoy it. In fact, the more I'm going through it now, I'm getting more of the orange and the cherry than I was before. At first I was getting a lot of the bitters, but now I'm really feeling the orange and cherry more. I do feel some bourbon notes. I get a touch of oak. I'm getting some vanilla that you typically get from bourbon. There are some toffee caramel-like notes in there. It's not one I think I'm going to pound at 10%. I'm outside in the front yard. Sometimes my cat follows me out, but she didn't get out quick enough this time, so she's staring at me through the window. That's Large. You've probably seen her in a video or two. She likes to photobomb my pictures and video. So anyway, hey, I'm from the Beer Whisperer. We'll talk to you later. Yeah, actually, quickly, would I buy this again? Yes, I would buy this again. On the Beer Whisperer scale, yes, this is a buy again for me, because it's interesting and I think it's done well.